How to save Doctor Who in 2025. Yeah, currently the show of Doctor Who is a bit up in the air, with its future pretty much undetermined, and it's leaving fans of the show a little bit worried, I suppose you could say. Like, half of the fandom is worried about the show and half of them isn't. So it's very, very split, but I think everybody could agree the future is very, very foggy of the show, and the show is definitely not in the best position that it could be right now. So I decided to make this video right here to see what I would do to save Doctor Who in 2025. Now this is going to go above and beyond just all the basic stuff. Obviously get better writing in. Obviously go back to actually writing properly decent storylines. That stuff is fairly obvious and self-explanatory for most people watching this video. I'm going to actually go ahead and throw a couple of ideas out there, and I suppose we'll see where this video goes. But just before we get into this video, if you enjoy Doctor Who or Doctor Who content in any way, whether you like review videos, whether you like Doctor Who news and updates, or you just like Doctor Who little rant videos, or just Doctor Who chat videos, just like this one, then yeah, subscribe to the channel and smash a like on this video, because I'm trying to get more Doctor Who videos up, because it's something that I do love doing, and I do enjoy these videos, and I think a lot of people do enjoy these videos as well. So yeah, smash the like and subscribe, and let's get into this video. So I've got a couple of different ideas right here, and we're just gonna sign off on whether these ideas would be cool, and yeah, the positives, negatives, all of that kind of stuff of these different ideas. So first of all, I have right here a Doctor Who horror movie. Now, in this current climate of movies and film and TV, horror has kind of come back into the public eye a little bit. And a lot of, previous horror franchises are recreating films or creating sequels to films to feed into this now popular rise. I mean, look at things. You even got like Five Nights at Freddy's making a movie and all of that kind of stuff. So, horror is very much a popular genre of film and TV at this current time. So making a Doctor Who, making a Doctor Who horror movie not only would be fresh and something new that the show hasn't really delved into before. Yes, we have horror episodes and horror-esque episodes, but we've never had a full-on Doctor Who horror movie. And I think, going into a little bit more detail, we could have some really, really good different ways we can make these horror movies. For example, we could have something like the setting of a spaceship, or somewhere that abandoned space station, somewhere that feels very, very cut off and isolated from the world, and then throw a villain like the Weeping Angels in there, and you have a perfect base for a good horror film. Even if you wanted to do something a little bit more body horror, do something with the Cybermen. Do a Cyberman horror film. Make them really graphic and, make it disturbing. The Cybermen as a concept is very disturbing. So that could work perfectly as our horror narrative. And of course, you could even go down the route of doing the Daleks. Bring back the Daleks and make them scary again. Give them impact and make people actually scared of the Daleks again. Because, again, I think these would all be good ideas, and they could help revive the show. And I think just doing a one-off horror movie would be something that, people who don't really watch Doctor Who could go and watch. Because, I mean, if you like horror movies, why wouldn't you go and watch a Doctor Who horror movie? I think it would definitely pull in a little bit more of a different audience, and people who may even like the more horror-esque episodes of Doctor Who. So that is the first thought. Now, the second one is to take that hiatus and do specials. Now, this one is more budget friendly. Whether the BBC is, you know, solely funding Doctor Who from now on, or whether they get another streaming platform, maybe they could, you know, do a couple of specials a year, just until they get back on track, or maybe even just to save up some funding for a full-fledged series. I think this is a good idea, rather than just carrying on with the, you know, boring 8-episode format. I say boring because it just doesn't have enough time to develop any actual characters in a series. 12 episodes is just a lot longer and gives you all that mid-section of the series to build character. And that is something that the Disney Plus era lacked quite a lot, to be completely honest with you all. Yeah, I think Doctor Who needs to work on character building, and getting them 12 episode series back would be a good part of that. Now, obviously a lot of people are going to say, but the budget. What I would say is, if you want to solve that budget idea, do a 12 episode series one year, and then do specials the next year, and intervene them, so that we always get some Doctor Who. Maybe it's just specials one year, and then maybe it's a full-fledged series the next year, or even, you know, break things up with specials. It worked before in Doctor Who, worked perfectly well. People loved the specials in you know, even the David Tennant era. You had like the specials back then. The Waters of Mars, fucking banger of an episode, one that will always be remembered in Doctor Who, and that was a special. So, you know, Doctor Who has a really good, it can be used as with specials, and I think that moving forward, due to the budget and all that kind of stuff, I think this would be a good format, just to change it up a little bit and introduce a format that would probably work a little bit better. Next one is bring back iconic villains, and yeah, this is something that I've been really noticing throughout this new Disney Plus era. The lack of, you know, the lack of villains that have came back. We haven't really had a Dalek appearance in the last 2 seasons, and we haven't really had many, you know, big villain returns. Okay, we had some classic villains like Omega and Sutekh. I think, yeah, we got Sutekh and Omega, which were like the big classic returns. And then obviously you got the Midnight Entity return. But, you know, Toymaker, you could say, Rani. But apart from that, you know, what kind of villains have we had return from the 20-year history where New Who have been rebooted? Oh yeah, that's right, we barely had any for this time. The 15th Doctor went throughout his entire 2 seasons regenerated without even encountering the Daleks or the Cybermen, which, in my opinion, every Doctor has to, you know, has to fight off against these iconic villains. Again, like, Paul McGann's a little bit different because he only had like 1 TV movie, so, and even in that TV movie, he was battling against the Master, so he's still remembered for pretty iconic reasons. But yeah, in fairness, I think he should have battled some, you know, returning villains and some actual iconic villains that the show thrives off. You know, so there's a reason why whenever they bring back the Daleks to Doctor Who, the viewing figures peak. Because people love Daleks, people love the Cybermen. This is just fact at this point. So yeah, bring back iconic villains. The next one I had, which is change the writing team. Yeah, this one's pretty basic, but yeah, change up the writing team. I think getting new writers in would be a really good idea. Get writers in that are successful in other things as well. Writers who have had a vast amount of, you know, maybe you want to get in some new writers and maybe take on some new writers and stuff like that, and people who haven't had that much experience. Okay, but you should definitely mix in some very, very good guest star writers which are vastly experienced in writing television. We had writers from season 2 who literally wrote poems and books and other shit like that. We didn't have that many experienced writers, and then whenever we did have the experienced writers, you know, the quality dropped because, you know. But yeah, change up the writing team, I think, is a good idea. And then my final one is keep actors on longer as the Doctor. Yeah, Ncuti's era was way too short-lived. That's one reason why I struggle to find Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor. He didn't have enough time, and you've got to remember, people will go, oh, but he had 2 seasons. He had 2 seasons. That's more than Christopher Eccleston. Yeah, and then you've got to really remember, Ncuti had 2 seasons, but he had 8 episodes a season. And on top of the 8 episodes a season, for a good amount of them were Dr. Light episodes. So he hasn't really had that much screen time, if you think about it in the long run. Like, yeah, overall, if you compare his screen time, I think it's pretty low. And that's not good. Obviously, you want screen time to break a Doctor in, and, you know, that's what we've gotten with other Doctors. And yeah, it just sucks because I was just starting to get used to him. I was just starting to go, oh, that's a bit Doctor-y, and oh, that seems quite a Doctor-y thing to do. In the last couple of episodes, yeah, so keep the Doctor on for a bit longer, you know. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please comment, like and subscribe as always, and if you enjoyed the video, smash a like, subscribe as always, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.